Hey there. Today I want to talk to you about using the Audience Insights tool that is in the Facebook Ads Manager to focus in on your targeting for your Facebook ads. Now, the first thing you need to know is obviously where you're going to find this. This is going to be under the main menu, under All Tools. If you go under the first column here, it'll be the Plan column, and that's the Audience Insights tool right there. Now, this is going to be a great tool to kind of help you research your market or your niche or your niche or your target audience or whatever you want to call it, because there's just a ton of information in here. Now, please don't take this as a video as how you should do it specifically, but I'm going to give you some great tools to kind of guide you along the process. And I'm even going to give you a few tips to how to find buyers to market to as well, as opposed to just people who are going to like it. Because if you're doing e-com, especially, if you're selling anything online, there's nothing more frustrating than getting an ad that you think is going well, is doing well for you. And, it's getting tons of likes, tons of shares, tons of engagement, but no one's buying. And so what you want to do is you want to obviously, get that, engagement, but likes and shares are great because it really drives down your cost per click, and it acts as social proof, which helps increase the sale. But if you're not getting clicks, if you're not getting sales, it's frustrating. So we're going to talk about how to target buyers as well. But really, once again, what Audience Insights is exactly that. It's an insight into the audience that you want to target. It's a super powerful tool. You do have to know a little bit about your target market before you get into it a little bit. So you got to do a little bit of research, but you should be doing that anyways. So this is kind of step 2 of finding your target audience. Now, I talk about targeting, and there's just a ton of different ways to go about it. If you'll see other Audience Insight videos on YouTube, and all you have to do is just type in, how to use Audience Insights for Facebook, and you'll see, a few good ones out there that what they'll do is they'll tell you basically you're putting together spreadsheets and you're cross-referencing, and you're finding 40 different interests, and then but ultimately what you're doing, or what these people who are doing are telling you, to get 35 different interests or 40 different interests, or they're telling you to make spreadsheets, is all they're doing is they're just getting a bunch of information, and then they're just gonna test anyways. Okay, so it's not like they're getting this formula together and then they plug it in and then boom, it works, guaranteed sales. That's not how it works. They're still gonna test and get rid of the losers and then pour their money into their winners. And that's just what this is all about. So yeah, they might save a little bit of money, I guess, if they really narrow down their targeting. But to me, and I could be wrong, I mean, I've never claimed to be the number one expert on Facebook advertising. All I can tell you is what I've learned from experience is, to me, that seems like you're trying to outsmart Facebook's algorithm. I mean, that's what's so great about Facebook. They have the algorithms in place. They're going to run your ad against data points and figure out who to target. They're going to do the testing for you. Like I said, it might take an extra X amount of dollars to get to that point, but that's what Facebook does for you, is they run the testing. And that brings me up to another great point really quickly that I want to make, and then we'll get into the Audience Insights exploration here. It's actually 2 points. First of all, if you're just getting started, when you're talking about your Facebook pixel and your targeting, when you're just getting started, you cannot run an ad that is optimized for conversions, because you don't have any conversions. So what you have to do is when you get started here, you have to run your ad for traffic or clicks or whatever you want to call it. Because once, that can happen faster. Okay, you're going to get X amount of clicks for every one conversion or sale. So what you want to do is you want to get Facebook targeting the right people by getting the number of clicks to the site first, okay? And then once you start generating sales, 20, 40, 100, whatever, then your pixel is going, some people call it cooked, some people call it seasoned, some people call it, primed, whatever. But the bottom line is now your pixel has data. Okay, so after you've made some conversions, after you've made some sales, and there's purchases on your pixel, then you can go back and start driving, or you're running your ads to optimize for conversions. But I always say Facebook can't optimize for what's not there. It's not magic. So always start in the beginning. if you're just getting started with driving traffic to your site first, and then go from there. The other thing is this gets into e-com specifically when we're talking about the pixel is everyone's always like, do I do a general store? Do I do a niche store? Do I do a niche store? If, whatever. And I always say the same thing. Do a general name. Okay, don't pigeonhole yourself with your name. Think of it like this. Think of Amazon.com. When they first started out, they sold books. That's it. But if they would have called themselves Books.com, where do you think they'd be at today? They would not be the company they are at right now because they kept their name general. Now, Amazon sells everything, so that's the second point is not related. And obviously, we're probably not planning on becoming Amazon with this drop shipping endeavor or e-commerce or whatever you're doing. But the other side of that is you want to keep your product line focused. So just to kind of touch on that one more time, keep your name general, but keep your product line focused, because as you make sales, your Facebook pixel is going to start gathering data on people who are likely to purchase from your store. So if you sell something that is related to or might be purchased by women who are 25 to 30, but you also sell things on your store that are going to be purchased by men who are 45 to 60, your pixel is going to be confused because a purchase is a purchase. So really, the end all be all bottom line here on general niche store, keep your name general, keep your product line niche. And the reason you keep your name general is because if you first start off and you think you want to do jewelry and you just can't do it, so maybe then you go out and you find something a little more focused, and then you want to do women's scarves or something like that. If your name is general, you don't have to do a completely new store. All you have to do is just take out all your jewelry and load your store up with scarves. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Enough about that. Let's get into audience insights and see what we can do with here. So, for instance, let's say we're selling like cooking gadgets. Just because I usually talk about jewelry, I'm sick of talking about jewelry. So let's talk about cooking gadgets. So the first thing you're going to want to do in Facebook audience insights here is go down to your interest category. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where you got to kind of know your demographic just a little bit, or your target market just a little bit. So I know that people who are going to be into cooking, who are going to be into cooking gadgets, probably like Food Network. Okay. I know that's pretty broad, but that's always where you want to start. Start big and work your way down. So we're going under interest and type in Food Network. And this is going to tell you that 25 million to 30 million active people like Food Network. So that's obviously way too big of a group to target. One thing that I want to show you that kind of shows you instantly if your group's too big or not is don't get focused on the numbers up here. I mean, obviously it can't be 2,000 people, but there is no harm of finding a well-targeted audience that is 5 million people. I mean, that's way better than a well-targeted audience that's 500,000 people. So don't get so hung up on the number of people. What you want to do is on this tab here, if you go under page likes, okay, this is a little trick that I like to use. And you scroll down here, you're going to have some of the top categories, which I'll talk about in a few minutes here. But I want to get down to the page likes section down here. And so this is going to be pages that are relevant to your audience. So if we type in people who are interested in Food Network, which we have right here, and this gives us an audience of 25 million to 30 million people up here. This is going to show us down here that audience is likely going to like these pages. And the metric that I want you to focus on here is this affinity. Okay, so if I click on this, I'll just read this word for word. How likely your audience is to like a given page compared to everyone on Facebook. Let me see if I can explain this here. So basically you have an audience that likes the Food Network. Oops, where did I lost myself here. Okay, so basically you have an audience that likes the Food Network. Now, an audience who likes Food Network is going to be 3 times more likely to like the Food Network page than all of Facebook. So really, I mean, that's not a huge number. And for instance, people who like Food Network are only 1.3 times as likely to like Tasty than all of Facebook. So this is not targeted at all. And you'll see as we get a little further down here, if you're seeing a bunch of 1 points and 2 points and even 3 point, threes, this is not target enough. So that's just a super simple way to kind of decide immediately if you're on the right track or if you need to go a little bit deeper here. So once again, we're trying to sell cooking gadgets. So the thing you can do is you go under Food Network, which we started as our big 30 million audience, and then you can look at page likes down here. So what you want to do is you want to come down here and you want to look for something that would be a little bit more specific or a little bit more niche down or a little bit more focused. And, if you're not familiar, you can always just right click on these, or you might not even have to right click on them. And then they'll just open up another window and you can kind of look at their Facebook page as well. And you can open up a ton of these if you want to try to get an idea of what type of people are going to be, or actually what kind of focus they're drawing, I guess is what I should say. So let's see here. Now, when you go down here, you're selling cooking gadgets. So you can go down here and you can kind of see the retail and consumer merchandise products that they like. The other thing you can do is, another great thing is to kind of go into celebrities here. Okay, so for instance, if I got people who like Food Network and they're likely to like Bobby Flay, all right, let's dive in, and what you're going to do is you're going to get rid of this, and then you're going to search deeper. So let's take a look at Bobby Flay a little bit. And once again, this is going to take some time. This is not a quick hit, but this is how you hone in your targeting. So you can kind of go down here and you can kind of look to the affinity score here first of all, and see this is a huge difference. Okay. This has pages with affinity scores in the 45, in the 29, in the 30s. And so what you're going to do is you're going to see that, okay, this is a lot more focused. Basically, people who like Bobby Flay are, let's say 30 times more likely to like Jeffrey Zakarian, who's a chef. He's on that morning show right now, The Kitchen, I think is what it's called. But anyways, people like Bobby Flay are 30 more times likely to like Jeffrey Zakarian than the average Facebook user. So now we're getting into something that's a little bit targeted here. So now we're kind of on the right track. And let's go down to kitchen and cooking. And we see, I don't know if it's OXO or OXO, but I know that this is a cooking gadget company. Okay, they make cooking gadgets. So let's just take a look at that page and get an idea, just to make sure. I mean, I know this because I know the cooking and food and restaurant and celebrity chef niche pretty well, but you can always look at that. So we're selling cooking gadgets. So we're in this cooking section here, and we're going to open up the Facebook page here, and let's see. And you can tell this Facebook page is exactly what we're looking for. Okay, this has, they're all about cooking gadgets and not expensive ones either. This is, a silicone omelet maker, I guess, or maybe it's a taco shell presser. I don't really know what it is. But silicone bacon cookers or frying pans, just all this stuff is stuff you can source from your drop shipping supplier for relatively cheap. So we're definitely on the right track here. So let's look at that. Let's go ahead and get rid of Bobby Flay and type in OXO. And whoops, we want to do kitchen and cooking right there. And so we're sitting here at an audience that's 600 to 700,000 people. Now, I know I told you not to get hung up on your audience size, but that's a pretty good gauge of where you're going to want to go. So that looks good. That looks good. If you go down to your affinities here, not as good as the Bobby Flay was as far as high numbers. But if you remember, we didn't really talk about it, but if we remember, Bobby Flay was related to other chefs, okay? This is related to more food prep. Here's a blender. They're expensive, but there's another blender. Okay, so see now that you have your OXO in there, what some people will tell you to do is to take a look at some of the other things, and what you're going to do is you're going to take a look at each kitchen and cooking and kind of cross reference it. But the point I'm trying to make is I'm feeling pretty good about this, as people who like this are going to like their kitchen gadgets. Okay, so what you can do is you can go down here and you can also find a high affinity, something that's related to it as well. And so for instance, if you look at the NutriNinja here, we'll go ahead and open that up, because once again, these are high affinities here, 9 times as likely to like NutriNinja than the average Facebook user. So that's kind of the way we want to go. So this is definitely cooking gadgets here as well. So, maybe another potential audience here. So now that we have our audience size here, the next thing we can do is go back over to the demographics tab right here. And I'll show you what's cool about this tab. There's going to be a couple of things. Now, first of all, the section right here, the age and gender. Okay, what this is going to do is this is going to show you, this light blue box here is going to show you the average user on Facebook. Okay, so that means 5% of the people on Facebook are 18 to 24, I guess is the best way to look at that. Now, the dark blue box is going to be your audience. Okay, so for instance, our audience that likes the OXO kitchen gadgets is going to be the dark blue box. So what we're looking for here is we're looking for age range of discrepancy. So for instance, the people who like OXO kitchen gear, and once again, I apologize to the company if that's not how you pronounce it, but they are a small fraction of the total population of Facebook that is between 18 and 24 years old. As you get up, if you get to 35 to, let's see if I can get that. If you get out to the 35 to 54, you can see just in this visual representation here, the dark blue box is much bigger than the light blue box. So a higher percentage of people in this age group, the 35 to 54, like OXO kitchenware, as opposed to the total audience. So what that means is the fans are skewing towards the, I don't want to say older, but the more mature range, and that's always a good thing, because they just have typically have a little bit more disposable income than, say, like an 18 to 24 year old. An 18 to 24 year old is not going to spend $20 on a fancy garlic peeler. A 35 to 54 year old isn't really gonna think twice about spending $20, I guess is kind of the point I'm making here. So that's just another way to kind of look at what you're selling, if you're on the right track. So everything about this still tells me that 600, 700,000 people were on the right track with the age range. Let's press on. The other thing you can get down here is go to lifestyle. All right. And this is going to kind of give you an idea of how you would classify the people who are going to be in this audience, so to speak. So for instance, all you're doing is you're looking at the highest number here. And this is just the same thing. It's a ratio. It's, how many people identify themselves with this sort of lifestyle versus all of Facebook, related to your audience. So for instance, in my audience of 600 to 700,000 people who like this cooking gadget supply company, they are almost twice as likely, or more than twice as likely, because 132% is more than twice as likely to identify with themselves as rural parents. And look, even rural adventure is number 2 here than your average Facebook user. So that means that for whatever reason, they're telling me that the people who like this particular interest are identify themselves as the rural parent lifestyle. Now, the way you can use that to your advantage, okay, is when you think about your image for your Facebook ad. Really, your image for your Facebook ad needs to convey a couple things really quickly, but it also has to draw attention. So it has to immediately grab their attention as they're scrolling through their Facebook and say, that's interesting. That's something I might be interested in. And then you need to find it related somehow to whatever it is that you're selling. So for instance, let's go over to Pixabay here, which is a great place for free images without getting in trouble here, and they're always high quality. And if you don't know Pixabay yet, get familiar. It's a great place to get free images. You can see it's on my commonly used tabs down there. I go here all the time to get my images. So all these images you can just use, you can crop, you can overlay text. They're just free to use. So let's see. I don't know. Let's just type in rural. Let's type in rural adventure and see what happens. I didn't do this ahead of time. Let's see. And then you just kind of scroll through the images. And yeah, these are rural, but nothing says cooking to me. So let's type in rural cooking. See, here we go. Now this is something that we're on the right track here. For instance, this is outdoors. This is, farmer's market / garden. This is an image that is obviously preparing food. It's rustic. This is obviously like kind of like a farmhouse style table. It's outside. It's got fresh vegetables, so it's cooking. So just as easy as that. We found, at least 2 to 3 great images that we can use in our Facebook ad that conveys, hey, look at how rural this is. Hey, look at this is food that needs to be prepared. This is not like this is a pizza. This is something, a cook. This is going to draw interest from someone who wants a kitchen gadget because, first of all, a knife is a kitchen gadget. A cutting board is a kitchen gadget. Over here, these things, you can eat them raw, tomatoes, but they need kitchen gadgets to kind of transform them. So you're really speaking to the soul of our demographic right now. So any of those images would be great for your image, for your advertisement. So now that we have that, let's go over to our ads manager and start building our target audience. And so let's type in the OXO kitchen gadget. And don't worry too much about setting your age range. We could set the age range right now if we wanted to maybe like 35 to 54 or even 64. But you can kind of let Facebook figure that out as well. So I wouldn't really worry too much about it. Now, obviously, it's going to start off with our total audience of 650,000. You could add, it's going to suggest other things as well, which you could use that as a tool to not just blindly add to your detailed targeting, but go back into your audience insights there as well. So let's see if we're on the OXO. Let's type in OXO food just really quickly and see what comes up, because I noticed it might be similar. And once again, then you just go down to your, on your page likes tab. After you type it in, you go down to affinity, and obviously this OXO is related to OXO food. So 17, almost 18 times as likely than your average Facebook user to do that. So that's a pretty good affinity. So if we wanted to bump up our audience just a little bit bigger, we could go ahead and add that in pretty confidently right now. So we're starting off with 1 million people. Okay, now at the beginning, I told you we wanted to focus on buyers. We don't want just people liking and sharing and thinking, hey, this is cool, and then not doing anything. We want to target buyers. So the easiest way to do this, and this is a little trick that I haven't really seen. I don't think I've seen anyone talk about this yet, but it works for everything. Okay, right now, there is a trend, and we're in 2017 right now. And there is a trend, and I don't know how long it's going to last, but everybody is doing subscription boxes. And if you're not familiar, you probably are, but for the most part, subscription boxes, you pay a monthly fee. Sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 20, sometimes it's 50, and it's automatically deducted from your credit card, and every month you get something, whether it's jewelry or perfume or makeup or whatever. There is literally a subscription box for everything. There's a subscription for cheese. There is literally, and if there's not, there's a business opportunity, but there is a subscription box for everything. Now, the people who buy subscription boxes, first of all, they're setting up on an auto draft or an auto payment. So people who are worried about their money, they're not usually the type of people who are comfortable with setting up auto payments. Okay, they want to take control of their money because they don't know if they're going to be able to cover the cost every month. I guess is the point. So by targeting subscription box services, you are guaranteed to find buyers. So you just type in whatever it is that you're selling. In this case, we're selling kitchen gadgets. So we'll just type in cooking subscription box. You can target these ads. HelloFresh is spending money to get people to join their subscription box service. So you could simply just go over to your ads manager here, and you can narrow your audience, and you can type in HelloFresh. So right now we're seeing an audience size of 4,200 people. Let's go back into that cooking box subscription search here. And subscription boxes oftentimes have affiliate programs. So there's always going to be somebody who is recommending the best subscription boxes for each category. And pretty much all they're doing is just listing every single one out there. But that's fine. That's all we need. We just need a place where all of these are brought together so we can quickly decide which ones make the most sense. And, of course, you can always go ahead and take this back into your audience insights as well. If you type in HelloFresh, now that you have one, and basically remember we got that from the advertisement for cooking subscription boxes. If you go over to the page likes and scroll down, once again, this is where we're going to use that affinity. You can always look at their Facebook page. Let's see what Home Chef is as well, because I'm not familiar, but it has an affinity of 10.6, as well as Green Chef. We'll get a look at that. We'll open all those up just to get an idea and see if there's something that we're going to want to target as well. And all we're trying to do is just bump up our audience a little bit. That way we target, have enough people to target without driving our targeting way off. So we know that these are very similar. Let's see, where were we? So Blue Apron, definitely something that people who are going to want to buy kitchen gadgets are going to be interested in. So if you just go back to your, where were we? Go back to your ads manager here and type in Blue Apron. Blue Apron as an interest. Make sure you don't choose the employer one down here. So go ahead and add that in there. And you'll see that Home Chef is going to come up related here as well. So this will kind of get you on the right track. We have an audience side of 260,000 people. We could probably stop there if we wanted to, or we could add more as well. Let's see what this Green Chef was all about. You can always go to their About page, and hopefully that'll tell you what they do. All you need to cook it. So the same thing as Blue Apron. So let's go ahead and just add that in there as well. And I want to touch on a point really quickly in just a second. What did I say? Oh, Green Chef. And here's a great point. I typed that wrong. Sometimes it's not going to come up. So Green Chef is not an option. So that's all right. No problem. That's going to happen sometimes, especially the smaller the category that you're trying to target. You're not always going to find that in there. Home Chef is probably the same type of thing. Let's go over to the About Us page. Yeah, probably the same thing to make cooking fresh as easy as possible. So go in there and type in Home Chef as well, which is already in there. And we're at 280,000 people. You can always go back to your audience insights and start again with the OXO kitchen gadget as well. If you want to go ahead and make it a little bit bigger, and see that once again you're going to go down to your affinity and find something that is Ninja Kitchen is definitely kitchen gear. With a almost 9 times affinity, so that would be cool. We could definitely put that in there as well. And if you want to bump it up a little bit, And now we got 350,000 people to target. NutriNinja, we saw that over in the audience insights as well. NutriNinja is an affinity of almost 10 to our first one we discovered, so go ahead and add that in there. And, 400,000 people, that's certainly a good place to start. Once again, if you start, seeing some success here, you can always explore a little bit further. You can always, build lookalike audiences once you've hit enough people based on people who are responding to your ad. There's just a ton of options. So once again, we didn't get crazy with charts and graphs because we're going to kind of let Facebook do the work for you. The main thing I wanted to talk about with audiences insights is, looking down here under the page likes for, similar pages that they might like, and your affinity score, which is obviously important. And then also we talked about the demographics as well, especially, kind of getting their lifestyle for images, and then also the age range that they are kind of falling into. And, the last thing, I don't know if I pointed this out. I talked about this in other Facebook targeting videos, but just to be clear here, what we did is we started and then we narrowed our audience. Okay. So we started with one interest category. So we started with kitchen gear. Okay. And then we put everything we wanted to put into that one. And then we clicked this narrow further button. And what that did is it popped up this and must also match at least one of the following categories. And this is where we put in our subscription boxes. So this is indicating by behavior. So we want them to fall in. These are going to be people who are both interested in these very niched, very specific kitchen cookware based on what we found in our audience insights. But they must also like these subscription box services because that means they're highly likely to buy. So you need a combination of the two. You use this narrow further once again. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's going to take some work. That's just kind of a general idea, an introduction into audience insights. But it's a super powerful tool to see what's really related. And the cool thing about this is just kind of the last thought here. Facebook advertising works on an auction base. Okay. So for instance, if you are targeting, people who like the Food Network, not only are you not going to see as targeted traffic, but there's also probably 1,000 or 100,000 other people out there targeting people who like the Food Network. Once you kind of revise this a little bit and get more specific, there's going to be much less people targeting this one specific brand of kitchen gear. And, it's just going to allow you, if the less people that are targeting it, I guess is what I should say, the less your cost will be, because no matter what you bid, it's an auction. If you're the highest bidder at 2 cents a click, you're going to get 2 cents a click. Now, you're not going to get 2 cents a click, but just kind of an idea of how this can benefit you in a number of ways. So I hope that was clear. I hope that was a great introduction. If you're interested and you found some value in this video, I do invite you to subscribe to the channel. I try to put out 2 to 4 videos a week, all kind of along the same idea, helping teaching, tutorials, how-tos, advertising, e-com, marketing, blogging, traffic, making money online, whatever. All those things are kind of interrelated. I've been doing this for, 5 years now. So I've tried a lot of things. I've done a lot of things. And the other thing, I want to invite you over to my private Facebook group right now. I'll put a link in the description below. I started this as a mastermind group for kind of beginning entrepreneurs. It started off with kind of like specifically e-com and Shopify and dropshipping. It's growing quickly. And at first I was just going to keep it private for people who entered the premium paid beginners mastermind program. But the cool thing is there's so many people out there who just want to find success. They just want to talk with people who are kind of in the same boat, because when you're watching all these how-tos on YouTube, all you're seeing is people who are successful, and you forget that they've probably been doing it for 5 years. And so it can get really frustrating. So that's why I want to open up this private group. I still have to approve you, and if you spam the group, I will ban you faster than you can. I've got a pretty good rate. I'm usually good at banning spammers in under 10 minutes. But anyways, it's just good to interact with people who are kind of on the same level, so you can understand that other people are struggling too, but you can also see that people are having marginal successes, and that's really what it's all about. It's really cool to see people try something and then make their first $100, because all you hear about on YouTube is people are making 100K a month, and so you don't see that first $20 sale as a victory, because it's certainly not $100,000 a month, but it is. And that's why I've kind of changed my mind. Once again, this is not the premium group, which is a monthly membership fee, but this is the private Facebook group. I want to invite you to come on and join. I'll put the link in the description below. And once again, at the very least, subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot to me and really motivate me to keep putting out these great tutorials for you. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.